Hello and welcome to Crochet Moments. My name's Helen and I am here to talk to you about all my lovely yarny things. I live in Leicester in the UK and it's been a busy couple of weeks. I haven't had much progress on anything really. We had half term last week, which meant lots of activities with the children, trying to keep them out of Daddy's way because Daddy's working from home. And just generally keeping them from killing each other. They are 10 and 4 and they like to argue. When they're nice to each other, they're very, very nice, but when they start picking on each other, yes, let's leave it there, shall we? And get on with yarn. Yes, so because I've been busy, we haven't got any finished items to show you this time round. I've got some things that are fairly close to being a finish. Hopefully over the weekend they might find their way onto my Instagram feed. I am Crochet Moments on Instagram. I have a Ravelry. I've not been keeping it very up to date, but I will insert it somewhere around the screen in case you want to go and have a nose. I am going to try and keep things up to date. I started a wish list. So yes, I will also insert my email in the description because I would love to see people's works in progress and their finished items. If you've got anything you want to show me, anything you want to ask, just general chit chat really. A special welcome to all of my new subscribers. I've had quite a few pop in. So welcome. If you do like my videos and you're not subscribed, it would be really nice if you could subscribe and hit the like button because apparently that helps. So without further ado, my works in progress. Now I know a few of you probably only really following me for this particular project, the Scheepes Crochet Along 2020, and part 3 is all done. Part 3 was hard going. Excuse me. I found it really hard going this part, and I've started part 4, and I'm not looking forward to that. One of the instructions is huge. I've printed the instructions out, and just as an illustration, this is one set of instructions. I'm a little nervous about that bit, but anyway, part 4. I don't know if you'll be able to see all of this. Here it is in all of its glory. So this part 4 is the leaves using overlay crochet, and there was a bit of a discussion on the Facebook group about the colourway for this section. I actually quite liked it. I like the pop of yellow against all of these blues and greens, well, mostly blues, so it really makes it pop. I do like the colours. I haven't sewn in any of the ends for part 3 yet. I only just got it finished in time for part 4 to come out. I'm trying to keep up to date with this one because in December there will be a crochet along with the Crochet Society involving their advent calendar, which I have ordered. I did it, but yes, so this is part 3. I have started part 4. Now part 4 is a little bit different. It's going to be worked with some motifs. I've got the first, well, I say 4, I've still got the last round to do on this diamond. So this is the is it the agate? I forget. I think it's the agate motif my girls have been around my pattern sheets, so the bits of paper have been spread around, and I really like it. It looks really, really nice. I wasn't so sure when it was at this bit, but now I've finished it, it's going to be orientated this way round, so it's a diamond, not a square. But I really, really like these stitches. And just the way the blues all play together, they're really nice. So you do these 3 different motifs. So this is the first of 3. And then it looks like it's chained together in a sort of a lace effect into 4 corners. And then you join the corners on. If you head over to A Spoonful of Yarn, which is Catherine Haddering's, the designer's blog, she's popped sort of little explainers for each of the sections of the crochet along, and you'll see it better there because obviously I haven't got round to doing that. So hopefully in my next video in 2 weeks time you will see a completed part 4, or you could see a big pile of yarn where I've lost my temper and pulled it apart, which has happened with one of my whips, which I will get to later. So yeah, I'm still really enjoying it. The thing that I found hard going with this, it was just endless double crochets, which are single crochet in the UK. And by the time you get to this final round, which was back post half double crochets, half treble UK, half double US. So confusing. I learnt crochet with the UK terms, but as I was learning, because I only actually learned crochet a couple of years ago, and as I was learning I followed a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and some of them were UK terms, some of them were US terms, so I'm very interchangeable with the terms. How about you? Do you only use UK terms? Do you struggle to use whatever version that you're not familiar with? I know a couple of US people that I follow struggle when the pattern's in English. But yeah, so it was endless, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of double crochets. So we didn't enjoy all of that. I think that's what took so long, because if I'm feeling a little bit bored of a particular stitch, I find it hard to motivate myself to sit and work on it. But yes, so that I'm really loving how it looks. It's fantastic, but I haven't yet been disappointed with any of the Scheepes patterns that I have followed. And I did actually buy, let's see if I've got it in this box, a knitting pattern for Scheepes. I had a yarn order. I think this is from a couple of months ago now, and I've seen so many beautiful knitted shawls, and I wanted to have a go at some knitted shawls. And I had a yarn order. I was I was 50 pence away from free shipping, so I'm going to have a pattern because I have enough yarn. I own swimming in yarn in my bedroom. So I ordered the Rhythm Layered Shawl by Sarah Knight, which is really, really pretty. I don't know whether or not I'm going to use the called for yarn, which is alpaca rhythm and mohair rhythm, or whether or not I'm just going to do some substitution, see if I have any in my stash that would work. Because I have a few bits of yarn from my mum's stash when she passed away, and some of that's mohair and things, although I have to say I don't like crocheting with mohair. We shall see how I feel about knitting with it. The last mohair yarn that I used, I actually decided to bin it when I finished the project. I normally ball up, and I have a little box at the bottom of my yarn shelf with lots of little balls which I dig into usually when I've got an amigurumi project to work on, which I don't do too many of, or if I just need a little bit of yarn for a little pop of colour on something. So that's what I do. So I'm really looking forward to giving that one a go. But these patterns, they're only about £1 on Wool Warehouse. And they've got these really cool little, I don't know if you can see them, little metal loops, so you can put them in a binder. So quite good. Yes, so what other whips shall I show you? My Celestia CAL. So this is part, let me refresh my memory because I lose track of which bit I'm up to on it. Part 7 already, wow. This is the Crochet Now CAL. So I am a subscriber to this magazine, and I did last year's CAL, which was a life inspired, designed by, oh, I've forgotten her name. Helen Shrimpton, that's it. I should know. Helen. But I should know that. But this one is designed by the lovely Tatiana Kuprianchik of Lilleborn Crochet. And yeah, so this is the Celestia, and I'm using the James C. Brett yarns, which I am a big fan of. For budget acrylic, the James C. Bretts aren't too bad. And this is part 7. It's a bit curly. I don't know what I've done wrong somewhere, but there it is. So this is mosaic crochet, and this project is what inspired me to start the mosaic shawl, the Infinite Love Shawl, I think it's called. I don't actually have that one with me. I work on the Infinite Love Shawl at work in my lunch hour, and I forgot to bring it home with me today, so that is still in the staff room. So yes, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, so this is made with the James C. Brett. Really, labels are starting to get tatty now. Top value double knitting. So this is about £1.50, £1.70, depending on where you go, for 100 grams, and it is 290 meters to a ball, which is about average for an acrylic DK. So I quite enjoy working with that. A lot of the projects that I do is either in this or the Aldi DK. I do a big buy every time Aldi have got their yarn in. So excuse me, need to have a sip. A bit of orange juice. Now my other crochet whip is my Hummingbird cardigan. And this is this had a moment when I worked on this because I've realised I'm making the wrong size. Now it doesn't matter massively because I don't mind a baggy cardigan. So luckily it's a cardigan and not a jumper. Yeah, I've made it too big. Previous things that I've made from the Crochet Now magazine, I've made and it's come out a little bit small. And I have to confess, I'm not someone that does tension checks, and I have to. I'm going to have to. From now on, I need to do a tension check. So I did this, instead of the medium to large, I did the large to extra large because I didn't want it to feel too tight, and it was one of the ones where the magazine didn't tell you what size the model was wearing. Sometimes the underneath a pattern somewhere, the magazine will say model is wearing this size and this is the size she normally wears, which is great because that I can think, well, I know what a size I normally wear, so I can right, okay, so I'll do that size, not that size. But anyway, I have a side, which side is it? I think it's a right side. I have a right side now. So it's quite a long cardigan. I just love the way the colours play together. Yes. Woohoo! So there's the side, so it's going to go under there and then up through there, and I have half of a back, and as you can see, this is how wide it is, so we can fit 2 of me's to this back, which, had I known that, see, look, this is folded in half, this is the width, the full width of the back panel. Sorry, husband walking in. I'm guessing our youngest wants some milk or something. Unicorn. Just a sec. No, that wasn't milk. That was unicorn. She wanted her stuffed unicorn. So, as I was saying, yes, this is the back panel here, and it's folded in half. Would be a little bit small, but it still would go around me. So, excuse me on the alerts. I forgot to turn my phone alerts off, so you'll hear some dingly dongs if ever gets any messages. So do apologise about that. So yeah, so that's that. This is made. I always forget to tell people what my things are made from. I am using Starcraft Life DK. The main colour that I'm using is this really lovely vintage look, and this is in the colourway Indigo. I really like this yarn. It has 75% acrylic, 25% wool, and it's a premium acrylic, which I don't buy very often. I think I bought this on sale. I can't remember how much I paid now. It was on sale at Lovecrafts, and I treated myself because I saw it and I thought, I know what project I want to make for that, and that's this one. And the contrast colour is the Starcraft Life DK, so it's the same fibre content. Oh, it got some fluff or something on there. And that's in just the standard. It's not the vintage look, this is just the standard Starcraft Life, and this is, I think it's Heather, which I really love. I might get some more of this and make it in just, might make a lovely scarf. I'm going to turn those alerts off, just excuse me. I'm back. Hopefully we won't be disturbed by my work colleagues or wishing everyone a happy Halloween for the weekend. So yes, so Starcraft Life DK, definitely one that I will be buying again. Maybe when I'm feeling rich, or I have a discount voucher. And there's quite often, the thing about Lovecrafts is I, on a twice weekly basis almost, get emails from them with, buy this yarn on sale, discounts. So I've been really good and managed to stay resisting the urge to buy, because I promised my husband that unless it's special yarn, I'm not allowed to buy any more just for stash. I can purchase for particular projects, or if I order equipment that I need, and we'll get to that later, for a project, then that's different. But no more just yarn for the sake of yarn. He does know me. I'm sure he does. That's not going to happen. This podcast is bad for my bank balance too. I've been ordering things left, right and centre thinking, that'll be good for my podcast. So, Yes. Now onto my knitted projects, and I can't remember if I had finished my first sock when I last spoke to you, but I have finished, and I've almost finished the second sock. I almost have a finished pair of socks. So here is sock number 1. So this pair of socks is a little bit of an experiment for me, because two of the methods of knitting socks that I was interested in, working on a short circular needle, and I was also interested in trying DPNs, double pointed needles. So I understood that I would end up with potentially 2 different socks, with a different fit for each foot. But I wanted to find out and get a feeling for them so that I can say, right, okay, this is how I'm going to make my socks going forward. I still know better, thinking. I think I have a plan. Excuse me, frog in my throat again. Oh dear, really dry throat today. So here's sock number 1. Sock number 1 was knitted on a 9-inch circular needle. I bought an Addy needle, short circular. And I quite like the way it came out. Although my rib is quite loose. When I put the sock on, it doesn't feel like it's holding onto my leg very well. And that could be a tension thing because I had only just started to learn knitting in the round on there. So I will make another pair of socks in short circulars as well, just to compare. But the tension for the rest of it is fine. I used the Crazy Sock Lady, I keep going to say Crazy Cat Lady, a Crazy Sock Lady tutorial for these socks, and the heel flap, I used the DPN method for the heel flap, just because it felt more natural to me to knit a straight piece on a straight needle. Yes, but overall I'm very impressed. I'm not too sure about the Kitchener on the toe. I need to practice that a little bit more. It's not come out terribly neat, and I don't think you can see. It's not come out terribly neat, so I need to work on that. But that was my first Kitchener, so I wasn't expecting it to be perfect. And here, let's move that spare one, is sock number 2. So this one, hold it the right way, Helen. This is done, as you can see, on DPNs. I'm quite liking the way it feels. I love the tension, as you can. I've got a really long tail on this one. Let's tuck it inside there. I'll weave that in a little bit closer to when I'm finished. But as you can see from just the rib, I've got a tighter rib, and it feels like it's going to grip my leg a little bit better. The overall tension for the rest of the sock is about the same. It's about the same, to be honest. One thing I'm not liking, and I don't know if this is just because I'm getting to grips with the double pointed needles, or if this is just something I need to work on, but I don't know if you can see that I've got a bit of a line forming, and that is both everywhere, basically everywhere where there was a join on the needle. So I am wondering if I should go DPNs for the cuff, the heel and the toe, and do short circulars for everything else. So I'm really enjoying working on these. and I like the method of the DPNs, and I will do more socks with DPNs just to try and work on eliminating these lines. If any of you that watch knit socks and have some tips on using DPNs and getting and not having these lines, they don't seem loose enough to be a full ladder, so I don't know if maybe I'm pulling too tight, I'm overcompensating. Is that what I'm doing? I don't know. I don't know if I'm overcompensating or if that's the thing. I don't know. And I have a bigger gap on my heel flap than I did with this sock. But yes, I'm really enjoying it. And I'm already looking at other sock patterns. I want to make more and more and more. So I have decided that there will always be a pair of socks on some form of needle as I work. So let's pop those away. Put this other needle in. So these are Addy DPNs in 2.5, size 2.5. So when I get to my incoming, I do have some other sock needles to show you them. And another knitting project. So I think it is just knitting projects I'm showing now. I've showed you all my crochet projects, and I will tell you about my doomed one in a moment. Now this one is a little baby jumper that I'm making for my friend, and we're calling the baby Olaf because my friend's nickname is Olaf. So I am making just this jumper here because I'm using a self-striping yarn, and I feel that it doesn't need a pattern to show it off. I've got some other lovely baby jumpers that I want to make for baby Olaf once I've done this, but I've already been told by Emily, my 4-year-old, that I'm making her a unicorn jumper when I finish this. And here it is. So this is the front. Let's just try and spread it out a little bit. So here are the sleeves. I hate the way that knitting curls in when you're trying to show it off. So, and then the back. Now I haven't tried to match the stripes at any point on this, mainly because I only have the one ball and I don't want to do any online orders for yarn anymore. I really can't buy any more yarn. Christmas is coming. My children will be wanting me to send the money to Santa for their Christmas presents. I just dropped a sleeve, so I've got a sleeve now as well. Let's try and spread it, fold it out a little bit. So here is the sleeve. Now I am really interested in learning knitting sleeves in the round. Now I've discovered knitting in the round. I want to do everything in the round. I want to knit a sweater in the round. If you have any fairly simple patterns for maybe a baby jumper to start with, knitting in the round, I'd be really interested for those suggestions. Yeah, because knitting in the round, why not? But yes, this is all I have left. This is the James C. Brett Fairground, and I've lost the ball band, so I couldn't be certain of the colourway. I've got this much of the cuff of the second sleeve done. I might be playing a little bit of yarn chicken with this sweater. I'm not too bad with yarn chicken actually. I've had some fairly decent luck, but I'm wondering when I look at this ball how small it is and sort of how big this looks. I don't know. What do you think? Is that enough? Will I squeeze a sleeve out of this? Neckline wise, I do have some blue acrylic in this shade of blue, so I can for the neckband. I'll be able to blag that, but I don't think I can get away with it. My little ball of wool has rolled away from me. I don't know if I can blag it. We'll see. Oh, I've gone back to straight needles. It feels weird knitting. I know that when I get round to shawls, I'm going to need to use circular needles because of the length, and you'll end up with just... I know you can buy long needles. I did buy some long needles for a poncho I knitted many years ago, and they were just too cumbersome. So we shall see. So that is my baby jumper. Now this is actually a new start. I did start last time. I showed you a shawl I was knitting in, and it was just a garter stitch shawl, and I found that it wasn't quite working with the yarn. You know, when you start something and you get so far and you think, do you know what, I love the pattern but I'm not feeling it with this yarn. That was me with that shawl. So I did a bit of a search on Ravelry, and I found this, well, it's a kerchief or a shawlette pattern, and it's got the cutest dog. Excuse the black and white pictures, but there's the cutest dog wearing the little kerchief, and it's a girl's best friend shawl, and it is designed by Modesitt, and I only recently discovered her patterns, and she's got some really lovely patterns. And of course, at the same time, I discovered that she recently passed away. So it's a bit bittersweet, really, because I found a designer, a knitting designer, that I really like, but there's not going to be any new patterns from her. So I should just have to do my best to work on as many of her things as possible. Now, this is using my Cuddlebums Advent 12 Days of Christmas that I bought from the Nottingham Yarn Show last year. And what I've done, barring the one that I'm working on now, I've balled them all up. I've joined them up and I've turned them into a giant ball. It's a fingering weight yarn. It's a 75 merino, 25 nylon yarn, and it's sparkly. I don't know if you can see the sparkles. There's a few sparkles you can see, and it's really, really lovely. So this, one thing I do struggle with showing things on circular needles is getting the pattern to show, but if you can see, it's got these lovely diamonds in the pattern, and it's just created by some eyelets and a little bit of raised knitting. It's not cable knitting, it's just the way that you do the two togethers in the pattern just raises the stitching up a little bit. And I'm really loving the way this is working up. I've ordered the colours in a way that they shouldn't be too jarring next to each other. So we've got this lovely sort of peachy colour, which is really blowing out on the camera. It's not really showing terribly well. And then we go into this nice sort of deep pink, and now into the lighter pink, and then we're going to go into some orange, and then after that I think some yellow and some cream, and then we move into the blues and the greens, and I think there's a grey in there somewhere as well. I just love this yarn. I really, really love this yarn. Yes, so let's pop that back in the bag. Oh, and my project, I have some new project bags. Though technically they are makeup bags. I really, really needed some decent bags that were a good size, that were zipped, because I have a problem with my 4-year-old digging yarn out of my bags. she actually wrecked one of the balls of yarn from my Celestia, so I might end up having to buy another ball of James C. Brett for that, because she decided it would be a good idea to take it outside and leave it in the rain. And obviously mud and rain, and it wasn't very pleasant when I discovered it in the garden. She didn't even tell me she'd done it, so she survived. I'm sure many of us have children or animals who like to help, in inverted commas, with our yarn. But yes, bags. I got these from a shop called Primark. I don't know what countries you're in, where you're watching me from. Primark is like a discount clothes retailer. I don't shop there for clothes much myself. They're great for kids' clothes because their kids are in clothes for like 5 minutes before they've outgrown them. But yeah, so I got this big bag, and inside this big bag, which my jumper lives in, and any future knitted jumpers will live in, was this bag, which has got this really lovely shell pattern on. And this is going to be my shawl bag. And then also this little tiny bag it's a different colour but the same shells, and this is going to be my sock bag. £10. So I was quite pleased with that find. I do fully intend on, I have fabric, I fully intend on trying to find time to make some project bags for myself, and certainly want to purchase some. So if you know of any makers on Etsy, or they have their own shop that you can recommend, I would happily go and have a look at their stuff. There you go. Yeah, so as I have, over the last few years that I've been crocheting and becoming more involved in yarn arts, I've always knit. I've knit since I was 9 years old, and I've only ever used acrylic. And it's only in the last couple of years where I've been discovering more about crochet, about different yarns. I've worked with different yarns thanks to my Crochet Society box subscription. And obviously I went to my first yarn show, so I've had a bit more exposure to hand dyed yarns as well. I want to start saving my money, stop splurging on loads of acrylic stash. I've got lots of acrylic stash, and I know that Aldi have regular stocks of acrylic, that when they have their twice yearly sales of acrylic, I can just buy a few bags of each colour, and that will be my acrylic stash. I'm not a yarn snob. I'm not going to stop working with acrylic. Acrylic has its place, especially if you're knitting or crocheting for anything for children, because acrylic washes really well. But yes, I'm definitely plan my future purchases, definitely next year, to include a little bit more hand dyed yarn, a few more luxury fibres maybe, we'll see. Maybe save up and only purchase a few times a year, rather than, well, I think last month I did 2 orders to a warehouse, not including all the other things I've been buying in between as well. So yes, those are my whips. Now, my doomed whip. My spring in time sweater that I was crocheting. I ripped it, I frogged it. I didn't like the way that the yarns were working together, and I was very conscious I've got so many whips at the moment. Did I really want another one at the moment? No, because I do work full time. I have children who take up a lot of my time, so I just wanted to condense things a little bit. I'm going to stick to the number of whips that I have, and just I've got a list of things that I want to work on, and I will just replace one whip with another as it's finished. So hopefully we'll start to see a few more finished objects of the bigger things. So I have a tendency, I'm drawn to the big projects, the cardigans, the sweaters, the blankets. I'm very rarely drawn to a hat or mitts that will probably take a couple of evenings to work on. I need to start bringing some more of those into my rotation if I want to see more finishes, that's for sure. And definitely some of the yarns that I buy going forward will probably need to be one scheme projects, because, well, let's face it, I'm on a budget. So while I want to include more hand-dyed yarn, I might not be as fortunate to be able to buy 2 or 3 schemes of the same colourway, or other ways around like that. So yes, those are my whips, and incoming now. I've already discussed my bags, my lovely bags. They are really good, £10, and they had some other really nice like Disney themed ones and things, and some Harry Potter ones. They're really lovely Harry Potter ones. So I might find myself treating myself again at some point after Christmas now. Any more purchases going forward are going to be Christmas based for the family, and not necessarily for my yarn. So let's talk about incoming. Let's start with my needles. So after my little excursion into different ways of knitting socks, I have made a little investment in some more needles. I plan on one of the podcasts that I watched, the lady Ali in Little Drops of Wonderful. She knits her socks concurrently, so she'll have 2 sets of needles going. She'll knit so much on one sock and then so much on another sock, as a way to eliminate second sock syndrome. So with that in mind, I bought myself 2 sets of Knit Pro Zings, and these are 2.25s. And I got 2.25s because a few of the knitting patterns I have seen for socks on this size are not the 2.5 that I do have. And I also got some Zing DPNs in 2.25 too. I also bought the shorter ones. The Addies I bought the 20 centimetre ones. So instead I bought the 15 centimetre ones. I'll probably only really need excuse me if you hear the door squeaking, that will be Catherine heading upstairs for something. So yes, so these are my socks. Now, I was wondering about starting with a DPN and working on the main body of the sock in these. So we'll have to see. I'll have to see. The next pair of socks I will be knitting will be for Emily, who is 4, and she will obviously be smaller feet, so I might end up having to knit those on DPNs anyway, because I don't know whether or not a 4-year-old's sized sock would work on a circular needle. I'm waffling. Just tell me off for waffling. I also bought some needlepoint protectors, because if I'm knitting on circular needles and the shawl is getting wider, my thought was, well, perhaps I need to stop the knitting from coming off the ends. So I will be making use of those shortly as my shawl gets bigger. Shawlette. And that Emily's already claimed that shawl. She doesn't need a shawl, but she wants them. And I treated myself some knitting stitch markers. I've got lots of crochet ones with the little crab claw hook, but I needed some ring ones because the DPN, the circular needle tutorial that I've been following for vanilla socks uses a few of these, so I thought they might come in handy. And there's quite a lot in this pack. It was only about £1.50, £2, and these are Knit Pro. I just took the outside packaging, which didn't really need to be there. That packaging with a little sticker on would have been sufficient. So those are my needles that I bought. And of course I needed to stock up to get the order over, and so I ordered another ball of sock yarn. All of the colours I have at the moment are quite girly, and I thought I might see about making my husband a pair of socks. So I got this because it's a little bit more his colourway. I don't think he would appreciate pink or purple socks or teal socks. So I got some nice grey, and it's really nice actually. I don't know if it's not coming through terribly well, but there's a stripe of blue through there as well. So yeah, I've got that. And I went to a garden centre last week in the half term with the girls. We were like going to, it's Gates's garden centre out at, I'm wanting to say Oakham, but I think that's wrong. It's out somewhere towards Melton Mowbray, which is one of the towns that's sort of orbital to the city of Leicester. And it's not just a garden centre. A lot of, if you're not familiar with the concept of a garden centre, in the UK we have, they're like nurseries, plant nurseries, where you can buy your equipment for your gardening, plants, seedlings, seeds, bulbs and things like that. But a lot of them now have gift shop areas, because let's face it, there's not a year-round cause for going shopping for your garden. So to keep a year-round custom, a lot of them bring in other things. And I absolutely love Gates for their Christmas displays. And I am considering doing Vlogmas this year, because I'll be doing a daily video anyway, opening my advent calendar. So I thought, well, how about I try doing some little vlogs. Some of them are going to be great because most of my weekdays involve get up, get the girls ready for school, go to work, come home, cook dinner, put children to bed, and sit and watch TV and crochet or knit. So my normal day-to-day life probably you wouldn't be interested in, but certainly at the weekends we like to try, even in the current situation with COVID, we try and do interesting things with the kids. So we like to go garden centres and things like that. So if I do Vlogmas, I will take you on a trip around a couple of our favourite garden centres, and you will see what I mean. Anywho, to my point, I saw these patterns for socks, and I thought, wow, a sock pattern. I'm just learning to knit socks. I need to buy that pattern. And then I saw free with purchase of yarn. I don't know if that's coming out. So I couldn't buy the pattern, and they were right there. I probably wouldn't have been stopped from picking one up and walking out with it. But I bought a ball of yarn. Yes, this is Zigzag, as just like the ball up from Wool Warehouse actually. This is Zigzag by King Cole, and it is a sock yarn too. It is a 75% superwash, 25% nylon, and I thought there are so many different styles of socks, and one of these socks, well, two of them have little patterns, so I really want to try these with the little lace panel now. I'm going to do these ones for my youngest first, a little pair of vanilla socks for her, but my next bigger size is going to be this one. So that. 2 more incomings, and the first one is the one I'm most excited about. I joined a yarn subscription. It's at the moment it's just a 120-gram mini, but after Christmas, well, I'll look at my budget maybe before Christmas, but definitely after Christmas I am going to be increasing it to 2 a month, because this yarn was I'm in love with this yarn, and I'm really conscious that I've been wittering on for ages and ages, and you're probably all bored by me now, so I shall try not to take this for too much longer. So first, let me show you the card of the person who I made my yarn. So this is, I don't know if it's Dina or Dinah, House of Crafts. There it is, there's her card. And I got this lovely stitch marker. The theme for this month's box was harvest. So obviously the stitch marker, if I can get it to stay still and focus, it's not going to focus, is it? It'll stay still. Let's try and take it off. Let's see if I can get it to focus now. Anyway, it is a little corn. No, it's not focusing. It doesn't want to focus. I should take a picture and post it somewhere around here. Yes, so I really it's so cute. And now for the best bit, the yarn. And it's yellow, it matches. Here it is in all of its gorgeous glory. Just look at that yarn. This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's a 20-gram mini. And this is a fingering weight. I went for the fingering weight option. And it is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And it's got her card attached to that as well. Just look at it. It's so beautiful. It is just the most beautiful yarn I own now. I have a couple of beautiful yarns, but this is going in a special box, and I'm going to keep as many of these minis until I have something to make with them. And I would really love it if you could give me some of your favourite mini patterns, because I'd hate for this to not be used forever, because it's so soft and squishy. It needs to be made into something soft and squishy. Maybe some mitts or a hat. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is lovely, and I just can't wait until the next box and the next box and the next box. So on to my last purchase. I need to stop buying things. My incoming section shouldn't be this long. It really shouldn't. So at work, as a key worker, I work in a bank. My employer, as a thank you, our supervisor for the area, gave everybody a gift voucher, which I thought was a really lovely thought, because given the COVID situation, we're customer facing, we're public, we have public walking into the branch, and we have to deal with people who don't believe in wearing masks and things like that. So we're essentially putting ourselves at risk. Not anywhere near as much risk as the fantastic NHS workers, who I take my hat off to them. I don't think I could handle that. Knowing how hard I find a day at my work dealing with public, to deal with the public and know that I'm putting myself at definite risk. I mean, mine's just a potential risk, but they're a definite risk of getting poorly, and I just think they're amazing. But anyway, as a thank you for all the stress of the last however many months now, I lose track, a £5 gift voucher. So I was like, none of the shops on the voucher sell yarn, so I couldn't buy yarn. So I thought, I'm going to go to a bookshop and treat myself to a pattern book. And I had seen this particular book on a Facebook feed. Outlander knitting. I am not a watcher of Outlander, but I am a lover of beautiful things, and the patterns in here. I mean, I just opened it out at this beautiful. I'm trying to find a picture that doesn't involve showing off any of the patterns. Look at this capelet. Just look at that. It's just gorgeous. So I treated myself. Obviously, I had to put money to it. This wasn't £5. This was £20. If my husband asks, I bought it on sale for 10. But yeah, so I treated myself to this, and that I don't ordinarily buy a pattern book unless there are a sufficient amount of patterns in there that I want to work on, and there really are. I could easily work on at least half the projects in this book, easily. So that will be used very, very soon. Hopefully, when I finish my girl's best friend, there's a couple of shawls in here that I want to knit. So I might start on one of those once I've done that. So yes, that is everything. And I'm so sorry I've been talking for so long. Congratulations if you've managed to last this long. I honestly didn't think I would be talking for this long, given I had not huge amounts to show you, really. I've got to stop rambling. So hopefully you really enjoyed this video. I hope to continue doing them for as long as I can. And so see you in a couple of weeks. Goodbye.